Welcome back to Bits and Boards. I'm Anthony Krolikowski, and today we're going to be focusing more on card shops, collectible cards, trading cards, cards that have games with them, cards that don't have games with them. It's a good old time of cardboard and collecting. So we have our guest here. His name is Bennett Bouye. He owns White Whale Cards. So, Bennett, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Tell me a little bit just about your business and how it got started.
Yeah, sure. So I remember being, for as long as I have collected it, since I was like 12, 13, I remember being sort of a trader, like going to shops and shows and kind of just wheeling and dealing, like even before it was a big thing. I've been collecting for a long time. My brother has also been collecting for a long time. So when it when it became bigger to vend at shows and that was actually accessible to us, we started doing that maybe three and a half years ago. And then over time, we sort of built up our customer base, built up some sort of a name in the community. And just about 2 months ago, we opened up our shops. We were finally able to have a storefront. And it just made more sense for us. We're able to get very limited product from distributor, but still we're able to get product and more people coming in and out on a daily basis and kind of bringing our hobby to the next level. So that's sort of where it started off, and we're still growing, but we're happy with how we've done in the last 2 months.
Yeah, we got your store right up on the screen right now. How's it like been managing a space? Is this your first business? How did that all come to be?
Yeah, so this is our first business. I'm still in school, so I really haven't even had a 9 to 5 past certain internships that I've had. So yeah, it is my first business, and managing it can be difficult, but the fact that it's a hobby of ours makes it a lot easier. Managing the taxes and all of the bills that we have to pay, we do that all ourselves. But it's all worth it in the end because we have sort of a hobby store that we dreamed about since we were young. So,
how do you balance, something that you're passionate about and something you collect yourself, and also the business?
No, that's absolutely true. Especially when I was younger, when I was looking into what careers I wanted to go to, I had the same mindset in a way that if I took my hobby and made it into a job, it would make it almost boring, or it would kind of ruin the hobby for me. And that really isn't the case. You do have to emotionally separate yourself from the cards for sure, because you get in some of your favorite cards and you want to keep them or grade them or anything like that. And you can't always do that, especially for the integrity of the business. But it's almost better in a way that you have this turnaround of product because as a collector, you're always looking for something new. And of course, you want to have the largest collection that you can as well. So it's sort of a hoarding thing. But if you're always looking for something new, there's always something new coming in. So it sort of makes collecting, it brings collecting to a different level. Any card that you could potentially want may come in and may leave, but it makes you appreciate the things more as you have them, for sure.
And both for you and your store, do you find that you're more of a place to sell cards and buy, or do you also do tournaments? And how has that been with working towards being a tournament space?
Yeah, for sure. That definitely is within our realm of possibility, and it's something we're working towards. A lot of our friends do come in and play, like Magic the Gathering. I don't know a ton of people who play Pokemon, but maybe trade or open things. So we do have a space for that, and it happens quite often, but signing up for things like Wizards Play Network and Pokemon Play and things like that, it takes time. So being open for only 2 months, it's something we're working towards, and we'll probably get a similar thing to some other stores where we have a Commander night every night for Magic or a trade night every week. But it's just something we haven't been able to fully put together yet, given the time constraints.
As somebody who, when I moved from where I was in New York to the more capital region area in the Albany area, I started playing in the Cross Gates and Colony Mall, the Sports Zone and Fan Zone there in the Pokemon tournament. And I found that community of Pokemon, it was very similar to what I was familiar with in Amsterdam. There used to be Professor Bond's Emporium, if you're familiar with the area at all.
Okay.
But they were a card shop that I went to in high school, and I would play Pokemon, and we had a lot of people who usually weren't too regular to the area or came out to hang out regularly, but they would follow where all the Play Pokemon events were, and they would kind of wipe the competition of me and my friends who were more casual, and we had our decks, we played for fun, and came around. But I found when I've been at events, even kind of currently when it comes to the competitive scene. It's been hard for me to break into the mold of making friends in that space because they're all they're there for their play points. But
Yeah,
it's
it
nice
can be
to
cutthroat.
Yeah, it's nice to hear about your story. Maybe I know it's tough that you're not maybe a whatever the correct word is sanctioned or set with MTG or Pokemon, but you at least have your friends come in and talk to me about that community that has been made so far.
Oh yeah, so I mean, when I was young, I collected for the art, but a lot of people did collect to play. Now it's becoming much larger, just collecting for the artwork. And I've heard people compare Pokemon cards, some of them, to modern art. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of the people who do come in, it's just like a conversation of, oh, this card is beautiful, this card's going up, and even within, the online community, there is a lot of like pumping of these Pokemon cards. So there's an aspect of like finance to it in a way where
Pokevesting, isn't that the Reddit
investing.
group?
Yeah, yeah. No, I compare it to like crypto in some ways because a card can, quadruple in value overnight.
When it comes to your inventory with singles, so single cards,
Yeah.
what has been the biggest cards that you have come through, and how do you manage that buying and selling and turning a profit?
Yeah, so in terms of the biggest cards that I've had come through, I did have I do have a Mewtwo Gold Star right now. I've had some of the Poncho wearing Pikachu cards and things like that, and they come through fairly regularly. A lot of people do have them, and I think that partially is because there were a lot of collectors when these cards were only $50, $100, and either just held on to them or traded them around a bit, and now they're finally realizing their value. So they do come in fairly regularly. But in terms of managing, I mean, I buy at 65%, and some people prefer to sell at a show where you can get higher. Some people are okay with that percentage, and it helps me. And this is kind of a conversation I think we're going to go into in a little bit with sealed product and managing that as well. It helps me keep things at market value, because you can make your margin, or in our case, we are able to make our margin without completely overcharging. So yeah, like I said, it some people are okay with the percentage, some people aren't. But it is sort of a way to filter in what we get to maintain our margins and to keep things at a fair value.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you have a store,
Right?
So a physical location. I'm sure there's rent involved and stuff like that. So it's not just you're selling out of your apartment or your parents' basement or whatever. You have overhead that is important. And I used to, when a new Pokemon set came out, I know we're focusing on Pokemon a lot. I've collected a couple others too. But when new Pokemon sets would come out with Scarlet and Violet, eventually I got to a point where I was buying one booster box when a set came out, an Elite Trainer box, and I kind of left it there because it's pretty expensive. At the time they're going for $100, $120, and then the the Elite Trainer box goes for $40 to $60.
Yeah.
And then once the prices started getting insane, for me, it was kind of like a double-edged sword because, it kind of sucks that I can't buy as often because it's above what I'm comfortable paying.
Yeah.
But in a way, I'm saving money by not buying Pokemon cards. So it works, but it doesn't work. I know you mentioned about the MSRP, and I know from going to other stores, like in the mall or the mall, I've seen Elite Trainer boxes that MSRP is $60. They're going for $120, $180. Booster boxes, double or triple. Just talk to me about where those price points are for you.
Yeah. So that totally depends. I mean, for the new Mega Evolution set, it depends on where you're able to get product from, genuinely, because we do see a rise of card shops opening. And so getting things from distributors, even getting approved for distributors is an extremely difficult process. And then getting allocation from those distributors depends on how everyone does it. Some of them want you to buy thousands and thousands of dollars of just board games that are going to sit on your shelf. And
I've heard that. Yeah, it makes it tough to get in there.
Right, and then some of them want you to buy Pokemon to get allocation of Pokemon, and it's not really available to you, so it just takes a really long time. So if we're able to get the product at cost, then we can keep the cost down, of course. But for the majority of things, we have to buy at our percentage of market, and so it has to stay at market. Now, other stores. I've seen actually quite a bit of stores that keep it above market, and that makes sense too. I mean, you're a store, you have the overhead, you have the ability to buy whatever product you want right then and there. You can open it, as opposed to going on, eBay or TCG, and you're waiting for shipping. You're paying shipping and tax, and And so it does make sense to be a little bit above market, but keeping it as close to market as we can is kind of the goal here. And we're able to do that by buying at the 65% margin. And you know, anybody who sells us the product and they're able to get it at MSRP, there's still some room to make money there. Mm-hmm. But it is really a tough market to get things in. So the price point totally depends. I mean, especially things that are out of print.
Oh yeah, those.
Yeah,
that's almost you're guaranteed any store you go to, and it's fair because you've had to hold on to this, or somebody is treating it as an investment, right? So if you're looking at stuff from the X and Y era, which is when I really started collecting as a high school student, but that stuff's even crazy expensive now. But it's almost kind of fair when it's a sealed product, kind of fair in a way because, like I said, you have to hold on to this, and you're not opening it, and you're running a gamble. Now, we've seen from the way stuff goes up, it's not really too much of a risk. There's more of a reward than a risk. But when it comes to your products, and it doesn't have to be just about Pokemon, but talk to me about singles and then your sealed product. Do you find that with the markets of the different cards that singles are at a good spot? And I know from Pokemon, it seems like singles are it's cheaper to buy singles than to buy packs.
Oh,
and you're kind of getting good rare. Just give me that insight.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the case. I mean, most people that come in, if they really want a specific card, I say just go buy the card. I mean, it doesn't make sense to buy, unless you're talking about Crown Zenith where the pull rates are pretty high and you enjoy opening it. I mean, that's always fun. But if you want the card, just go buy the card. It is generally true that the sealed product is it's less expensive than your top pull, but it's more expensive than anything you can really expect to pull. And even with booster boxes, the booster box itself is more expensive than if you were to pack it out for 36 packs, and it usually is considerably more expensive than that. So the sealed product has now turned into the collector item, as opposed to the singles, which was always the case. Unless you're talking about, I don't know, maybe 50s, 60s baseball products. But yeah, some of the more modern sealed product has now become a collectible item. So opening it doesn't even make sense, especially for the older stuff. But yeah, if you want the single,
just buy the
single. It makes way more sense to buy the single. It almost never makes sense to buy the sealed product.
All right, and then from there, we're going to take it to break, and then when we come back, we're going to hopefully talk a little bit more about your personal connections with being in the area and going to college and your business and maybe some other excitement.
Sounds great.
Stay tuned. And we are back. Now, Bennett, you mentioned earlier that you're going to college. Just give me some of that insight, and maybe this overlaps with what you're doing right now. Maybe it doesn't, but let's hear about it.
Yeah, sure. So it really doesn't overlap, but it definitely plays into my personal life, of course, in managing the store. So I grew up in the area. I've always gone to school in the area. I went to Union for my undergrad in biomedical engineering, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do after that. So after some deliberation, I decided staying in the area would be best, and now I'm at RPI. I'm getting my PhD in the same field, biomedical engineering. So there really isn't much overlap between engineering and the cards. But it does make it a lot more difficult to be at the store. And so that's reflected in our hours. My brother and I, he has a job, I go to school. So we're open evening hours, 3 to 10. And that's the majority of how it affects us. I mean, I'm able to sit at the store and do work, so that's certainly helpful, especially if nobody's coming in the door for an hour, 2 hour window. But yeah, the overlap really isn't there. It's just I kind of took a hobby and turned it into a business, and that's what I would encourage other people to do. I still love biology and I love cards, and it's kind of both reflected in my life. So.
How were you able to get this started? Was it just working up towards it and save money? Did you have investment from maybe parents or people that you knew? How were you able to make this happen?
Yeah, no, it was really just investment from both my brother and I. I mean, like I said, we've been doing the shows for a long time, so we had inventory. We had sealed inventory and a decent amount because we had been holding on to it. And we certainly had singles inventory. And then from selling a couple of the larger cards, we were able to put up some of the upfront costs. and also stock the store at the same time. Facebook Marketplace is a great spot to find cases or shelving or whatever you might need. So that didn't end up being terribly expensive. And then just a lot of the manual labor that was put into this was us too. Mm-hmm. So we had a couple of friends help us paint, put up shelving, and then whatever else we needed to do for the store to make it look ready for opening day.
Is this your brother on this picture that you sent me right here?
Yeah.
What is it like working with family? I know my dad, he does his own contracting, and I know he does a great job, but working with family can be tough. So what is that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, my brother and I, we get along very well now. We're very good friends. I mean, in the past, and I think this is the case with a lot of siblings, we didn't get along very well. But over time, we grew to really like each other. So it isn't as difficult as some might think, but it's also not as easy as some might think. I mean, there is, of course, disagreement, and that just comes with any business or anything working together. But because we're brothers, it's not like we're going to abandon each other. So it makes it a lot easier to disagree and to speak your mind.
It's nice to hear that. Who got who into what? Was it just kind of you both got into cars at the same time? I know you mentioned this a little earlier about your interest, but how did this kind of mesh, and was there someone started at first and the other one joined in?
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting question because I have been into really sports cards since I was maybe 15, and Luke, he really didn't have any interest in cards. So back then and sort of right now, what I used to do was send what's called TTMs. It's basically a through the mail autograph request to various athletes, and that's what really got me into cards. I would focus mostly on NFL Hall of Famers, and that's still what I focus on for my personal collection. That's really the only thing I collect. And so I was doing that for years and years and years. And then Luke, we had both liked Pokemon cards as kids, but never,
I never played the game until high school.
No.
My brother never ever played the game. So.
No, yeah, we both liked it, like most kids do. We would open it and we'd go Black Friday and get tins or whatever.
Look at this shiny. Yeah.
But never really got serious into it. But I would say just before COVID or right around that first boom, he really got back into it. And kind of dragged me along. So in terms of, vending, reselling at the shows, it probably was Luke that got me into it. But I had been into cards for quite a while before that.
And when it comes to playing, do you find yourself playing often between the two of you? Or I know you said the people at your store sometimes come in and play casually in that sort of setting. But, what games do you play? What decks are you running? Anything like that?
Yeah, I really don't play. I got to be honest. Luke plays, and a lot of my friends play, and so they'll play at the store all the time. But it's hard with the free time that I have. I don't really play all that often.
School's a lot.
Yeah. So I don't have. They play Magic mostly. They don't play Pokemon. They do Magic the Gathering, and so maybe another episode we'll get him here and he can talk about that. But I don't play all these games very much.
If you were to build a deck in any of these, is there a certain archetype or whether it be Pokemon or Magic or whatever that stands out to you that you like collecting and you would like to build into something? For example, when I first started building cards and decks, I would do the Pokemon that I like. So I would build like a Metagross GX deck, and I did like a Ho-Oh Alchemy like Rainbow Energy thing, and just fun stuff that I enjoyed collecting the cards. So I made the decks. Anything that would spur your interest?
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't know. I probably would go down the route of like a favorite Pokemon, sort of like you said, if I were to do a Pokemon deck. But it would be terrible in the game because I would have no idea what I'm doing. I would just put it together for the artwork, Like I see a lot of people, I would almost put together a binder as opposed to a deck. I see a lot of people use sort of a binder thing. When
it comes to the variety of products that you have, I know you mentioned that people come and usually play Magic at your store, but talking about the different stuff that you sell and the accessibility.
Yeah. So I guess we have three main products in the store, and it's generally the same as other stores. So we have sports, certainly Pokemon, and then Magic. We didn't have a ton of Magic for a time. We just sort of got into the collector booster boxes, and I got a bunch of those in. Lord of the Rings, Bloom Burrow, Wilds of Eldraine, and then some of the lower ones like Aether Drift. I'm trying to think of some of the others. Well, I just got a bunch of the Commander or the collector booster boxes in because I think that's sort of the top tier of Magic collecting, at least. So I wanted to have some of the higher end items in there. But a lot of the stuff that sells for Magic is the pre-cons, the commander decks. And that generally, to me, seems like people play the Magic game far more than they would play the Pokemon game. Or at least there's more Pokemon collectors than there are Magic, just strict collectors. So a lot of the stuff we have in is geared towards Magic players. For Pokemon, I'm always buying. I'm always trying to get things for the store, new things, older packs. Like I've got Topps Chrome Series 2 in, or Topps Paper Series 2, all the way up to the newer Mega Evolution stuff. And people will come in the store, and I've heard multiple people say they haven't seen so much product in one spot. And then the picture you see there, it is old because product shifts all the time. And so that's one of the pictures that I had. But even since then, I've gotten in quite a bit more. So Pokemon is really the biggest variety that we have. And then in terms of sports, really what I try to focus on is I have a lot of singles, but the main thing that I have is a lot of the retail product, because the retail product keeps going up. It used to be like $20 a blaster. Now it's 40, 45, depending on the product. So I try to get in the retail stuff and keep it below retail. I have Topps Chrome 2025 blasters at 30 a box, and a lot of the megas are at 40 or 35. So keeping the availability for people to buy retail product and not spend an arm and a leg on it is another thing that I focus quite a bit on.
What's part of your personal collection that you would never want to get rid of or sell, whether that be a single card or something that's a sealed product?
So we're going to get more into sports here. I know that's
okay.
Not typically what you
That's
focus
okay.
on. But my main collection, I kind of alluded to it earlier, is NFL Hall of Fame autographs. And I'm super particular about what I get. It has to be signed in blue Sharpie or marker with the Hall of Fame inscription. And that's pretty much everything. I've probably got about 65 or 70 of them now. Frank Gifford on his 52 Bowman is one of my favorite. Art Donovan on his 52 Bowman. And then I've got, Terry Bradshaw and Zach Thomas on his 96 Bowman's Best Refractor. That's really what I focus on since I was, 15, 16 years old. So that's something I don't think I would ever part with. I put a lot of time and a lot of effort in, contact these players or finding them at shows and things like that. But it doesn't get as much attention. It's a very niche thing. So I kind of just do it for myself at this point.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
When I started or got promoted to being a reporter, there's a battle reporter card from the X and Y series, the Furious Fist era, the full art, and then there's a TV reporter card from one of the Sun and Moon sets that was a reprint from like Generation 3, and I bought the TV reporter card before the price spiked because Sun and Moon went crazy for some reason. So those are some. I have them on my desk actually.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I went to one of the stores when I was heading up to Adirondack, which is like a tabletop gaming convention. And they had the Delcatty EX from like the Gen 3 era. That's I like the like more cutesy Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I was very happy when I found that. It was like $30, and I was like, okay, it's not too crazy. $30 might sound crazy to people who don't collect, but like it's not the end of the world. It's like a few packs here and there.
Yeah, right.
But I know you've been a good sport, and we didn't really give you too much of a plug yet, but just tell me, where your shop is, how people can get in touch, find your location, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So if you look us up on Google, Whitewell Cards and Collectibles, we come up. If you look up trading card stores near me, it's usually one of. We have weird hours, so if you look us up at like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., we're one of the few ones open. So it'll come up pretty easily. But yeah, we're on Central Ave. If you go past Colony Center and take a right. Right above this wellness foot spa. It's like a smaller location. We're on the second floor, but it works for us. It's got everything we need. We got 2 rooms. One, as you can see, the one where we have our retail spot, and the other one where we have the gaming area. So yeah, if you can give me a call. Actually, the phone number is hooked up to my personal because I haven't set up the store phone yet. But I always pick up during business hours, no matter where I am. So. Yeah, even send a text to that number. I know it's probably more convenient that way, but
texting is king in this world of us all being busy, and between you at school and me with waking up early in the morning doing stories, just send me a text.
Yeah, no,
it makes
absolutely.
it easy.
It might take a while to respond, but I try not to take too long.
From this whole experience of having this card shop at this point of your life, what has been the most rewarding thing for you, and what's been kind of like a challenge that you've had to rise to?
Yeah, it's probably easier to say than most rewarding. It's when you sit. Well, first of all, saying you're a business owner is a pretty cool thing, just in general. But when you sit down behind the counter and you look around at all the product and all the things like I've, maybe wanted a collector booster box of Lord of the Rings for a long time, but I'm not going to spend the $1,200 on it, and now I have it in the store. It's cool to see all this stuff that you've accumulated and all the people that come in and want to talk to you and spend their time with you. Just talking about the hobby. That's probably the most rewarding thing is that people will continue to come in and want to see you, want to see you and talk about the thing that you've loved for so long. In terms of the challenge, the time commitment is definitely something that's difficult, but also it's having to not necessarily budge, and I say that in a weird way, but everybody wants to get a deal, and that's fine. I'm myself included, and I want to give people a deal. I want to do the best I can, but I have to remember to keep the business afloat. Everybody can't just get everything.
Like I said earlier, you have overhead.
Yeah.
You're managing school. School is not cheap, and
for sure,
living is not cheap.
Yeah,
so you got to make it work, and you got to run a business, but also have fun with it. One thing I want to add on to that with the whole having conversations is I know going into a big box store and going in the card aisle, you're not really there to make friends. And even if you do talk to somebody in the card aisle, it kind of feels off. Yeah. And I made some of my good friends from being in a card store back when I was still in high school. And it was just nice to finally, it's a safe place where you can hang out with people who are like you or similar to you. And then you get to share your hobbies, learn new hobbies, and it's just... It's one of what growing up it's something I look back on fondly. And the card shop I went to, it ended up closing during COVID. But it was just nice to have that when I was in school, and it can be tough to make friends in school. And obviously now we're a little bit older. You're in college. I graduated from college a few years ago.
Yeah.
So different points in life, but I don't know. I have fond memories of going to card shops. It's nice to see that you're kind of making that now. And I know, like you said, you don't really have the store sanctioned from like MTG or Pokemon events, but you're still doing events and having people come in, and I think that's what makes it special. Yeah,
for sure. And I've always sort of looked at things from an educational perspective too, and so a lot of the events that I want to put on are sort of unique in a way too, and I have to get it all together. I know I talk quite a bit about what I want to do, but I've talked to a few educators about maybe having some students in the store to do late night events where we can take maybe Pokemon and teach them about biological concepts, or take baseball and teach them about statistics. So it really isn't just about the collecting aspect of it too, because a lot of young kids do enjoy it and they do collect it, but there's also a lot of aspects of their life they need to develop, and I think that we can use this as an opportunity to help a lot of different groups of people.
Well, thanks for doing this with me, Bennett. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned. As you know, Bits and Boards, we're doing episodes about every week here. So it's either with me or Jacob and Christian. So no matter what, we'll be talking about anything from video games to board games to cards to tournaments to esports. We got the whole package. So stay tuned. Thank you.